right now, our team doing the outreach to the any complaints from the migrant workers, but most we receive is regarding the need of food, and also for the B is meal. So we're doing the fundraising, and we do some fundraising to some people, and also we collaborate with our journey for the activity makan for migrants. So we also collaborate with Tenaga Nita as well to what is it? To give the food for the migrants. Fundraise, yes. And also because we also our movement is limited, so we also ask for the volunteer to supply the food, because we receive a lot of places, not only in Klang Valley, we have in Johor, and also we have in last time Kuala Kubu. So we try to network with another NGO, and also the another people that who can help the migrant workers. Right now we don't have that activity, but mostly we also doing that kind of activity, like poetry competition, and also the what's that? Last time also with Project Dialogue as well, we're doing the fun activity.
Okay. Yeah. We have some case from a refugee side, immigration. The police stopped the refugee and then finally sent to jail. But still, we don't know which office of police, which station, and also some refugee. They have just appointment card from UNHCR. They are not allowed to walk in city and road. They cannot come outside of home. So yeah, it's really sad. They cannot come outside, and that's why they don't have any document. So last week I had some donation food, but police stopped us in Ampang Point. Then I had a letter from Mercy, and also I had card from UNHCR. Then police said, okay, please go with us to police station. Then I go with police to police station. I saw at police station like 3 refugees. I asked, why you are here? They said, we go to Western Union to take some money, but the Western Union also was closed. As police asked, why you come out? It's a lockdown time. But they were one person. The NGO, the media must, yeah, the media is very important. The media role is very important. They must make some reports. They can focus about this issue.
Okay. Currently, some government allow them some company to work. So, example like plantation and rubber gloves factory industry. So those workers start working already. So, but the problem is their safety, and the MCO guideline is called the WHO guideline. So they doesn't follow. Actually, some worker I contact with them, especially for the masks and distancing issue, and others sanitizers, hand sanitizer. Those issue, even though their accommodation also the one of the another problem, because the accommodation is example one room living a lot of people, so difficult to maintain the hygienic issue. Even though they are not clean as well. One big hall room, so living around 15 to 20 migrant workers. So how they can maintain the hygienic issue? Actually, this is the another one problems, and especially the few days back, some plantation worker contact me. So they start work already, beginning of April. So this times the management couldn't give them the proper safety equipment. Just I mentioned face masks and also the distancing issue. So how can they maintain the distancing issue? I think Malaysian employer should be concerned, should be look this matter seriously, even the government as well, because any times can spread this kind of virus rapidly if they don't actually follow the WHO guideline.
What I said just now is a condition of domestic workers, that most of them they have fully stay in the house. So another sector, they have factory sector. Factory, they have essentials. There was essential sector, kind of food, something like that. But also, what the same with the Abu mentioned just now, that the guideline for the security and health, they didn't, employer, most of them didn't provide. Just example, my husband worked in the factory, but the company didn't provide the mask. They said because they don't have any stock. They don't have any stock. So, but they impose the workers to just to work like that. So that's no responsible. And also I received some complaint from the what is that? Some sector like construction. They don't. The employer just didn't give the salary, even though there's a regulation. But they said they have the local employee. They pay the salary as usual. But for the migrant, they didn't pay the salary. But we don't know how to give the consultation to them, because there's a lot of dilemma, as the minister, the CTK also closed, and we don't have access to go out to find the help for them.
I think the refugee cannot complain because they not allowed to work. If they work illegally, if the refugee complain, maybe government asks why you working. You are not. Yeah, you no right to work.
Yeah, even the salary, that even the domestic workers, we also have received some complaint that the employer only give half salary, even though they do the same, and mostly they do the extra work, but the employer just pay the half salary. They said their sector is cut impact, so the employer just give the salary half amount. And also they also have the, what's it that fire the domestic workers as the impact, just dismiss the domestic workers because of employer. They said that their company is not have profit or something like that.
I have some suggestion actually for this issue just now you were saying about that, especially for the Malaysian government. I suggest for myself, if some measures they take, I think this COVID-19 issue can be controlled. It is my personal beliefs. Number one is actually, you see, the Malaysian government should remove the barrier that prevent non-citizen from getting medical care, and ensure that everyone, regardless of their nationality or legal status in Malaysia. Number one. So, and also beside that, so immigration and the police should be stop the arrest and detention for immigration violation of those already in the country. And another issue is like hospitals treat all those who come without discriminate COVID-19 screening. This is very important. And sometimes the migrants are discriminated when they go to public hospital. And beside that, so we can recommend like accommodation. So because the mostly undocumented workers are living very, very cramped and very crowded area. So if that cases, we recommend actually to, if the government follow like Singapore model, to bring this community to the proper accommodation, even though they are undocumented, and after the lockdown is reduced, and that case how can bring back to these groups work and follow the WHO guidelines. And this is the, and also we need to be teaching them to how to be to keep safe distance, all the WHO guidelines, to need to be educated their own languages, Indonesians languages, in Bangladeshi Bengali languages, Myanmar languages, all their own language. We can educate them how can they to keep distance from this kind of COVID-19 virus. And also another things is to need to be teaching them the working environment. We should be look around the working environment. Working, just now already Nasrika mentioned about the working environment. Some worker already start working, but the environment is not for works. It current crisis, many of them they scare, but no choice. That's why they will start working, because of the management forced them to do the work. But problem is their safety and equipment and social distancing. This is very important for every single migrant worker who are currently working now, especially for the plantation, glass making factory. So even though another thing is the due payment, that is government should be look and monitoring the due payment salary. I got information from one of the top glass making factory. So that factory was previously was 4 months salary due. After that, the factory is actually bankruptcy, but restart again from since February. Start again the due the salary, the last 2 months salary again due. The worker complained to me, how do they survive? This is the worker facing challenges their daily life. And another issue I told earlier, to the food supply, the some NGO they're trying to helping, but it's very insufficient current crisis. So we need a long plan and a massively to support this vulnerable, marginalized community to supply food. Language barriers are one of the reason. Actually, it is true. Many of them they cannot speak in Bahasa very well. So this is the another one challenges. Even though some workers just told me a few days back. So they are very new workers. I think 2019 they came in Malaysia. So they cannot speak language. So they cannot talk to the local authority, or they don't know how to communicate with who. This is the another one challenge that they are facing. I think this issue can, my suggestion is that this issue can address to the directly to the Minister of Human Resource, because he was earlier mentioned to everybody should get the salary during this lockdown period.
Actually, before the lockdown, also refugee not allowed to work, but in this time also. But some refugee working at home. For example, they have skills, very good and very amazing skills, like they are tailors. In this time, I know I arranged it already with some NGO. Some refugee family, they make mosque at home. So the mosque is it's very strong. They can wash and have filter. The people can change the filter also. So it's very nice mosque. And also some families, some refugee, they make the clothes for doctor. What is the name of this? PPE, like that? PPE. They make the clothes, the PPE. Exactly, yeah, the PPE. And also some refugee, they cook the delicious food, and they try to find some customer. And also the refugee sent to Ampang hospital every day. It's my friend Hassan Al-Ikra, and with his team every day they cook food and send to Ampang hospital. So in this time, some refugees, a few numbers, they make mosque, they cook food, they also make the PPE. But all refugee family, actually they need food. All refugee family, no money, no job in this time. All of them need food and money for rent. But just a few owners, they give discount for refugee family about the rental. But most of them no discount. But we don't know what happened in month April, because the families no money, they cannot pay the rent. Maybe the owner say, please go live in our house. Maybe they go to a street, the road. So yeah. two things is very important in this time: the rent, and the food.
Yes. So since I had moved from one area to another area, which is the reason that now I have some internet issue, I was completely detached from many of people in the area that I used to live in, Ampang, until I spoke to Saleh a few days after MCO. And then I realized that I was just ignoring a lot of things. He spoke about people running out of money, not having anything to eat, not having any money to pay for their rental. Some of the owners, some of the landlords refused to cut the fund, to cut the rental. And then, but I felt helpless at that time, and I was just thinking, what could I do? Then I realized that perhaps, I mean, as a photographer, I was just looking at my photos, and then I felt that these photos could travel perhaps to the houses of people, and perhaps this could be a way for me to sell my art. It is more of a art project anyway. I didn't want to frame it in a way that I set it up to help refugees, because I didn't want to use that as advertisement for my own art. So I was asking my friends to buy the art if they like the art, but committed myself to donate, to contribute 25% of the whole sale to the community. This is just I think something that I would expect everyone to do. I mean, if they are having an income at this time, it's a privilege to have a job right now, to be able to work from home, to have some income is a privilege. And many people had been just having some unfortunate fate to not have that. So it's more of a gesture to encourage others to do the same. And I'm happy to say that a great friend who is a great artist in Malaysia also set up something for refugees, but he is more of helping people. So he's selling also. He's going to do caricatures of cartoons of people. These are costume cartoons, and he will sell them for 180 ringgit and donate 100 of it, most of it, to the refugee communities. For me, it was more of a gesture of encouraging others to do something, because I myself at that time, at that point of the time, had nothing in my pocket also to contribute. So I felt that this be a way that I can just, I mean, it's a matter of, I think we live in society, we gain money from the society, we gain things. I mean, we enjoy being in a society, and that is why we have to take care of those who have been a little less fortunate compared to us. And for distribute, and something that is very important is that many of the donors are donating only foods at the moment. And I purposely wanted the donation to be cash, I mean, direct cash to be given to people, because imagine that, for example, a refugee family that I was in contact with, two of the children who are very young, like 6 years old, 8 years old, they were playing, and one of them fell down, and then there was a scar on the face or something. They had to go to a hospital anyway. Imagine that there is nothing left at home. There is no money. They won't be able to have that. Like, many of us may have some saving in bank accounts. I mean, I as an Iranian don't have a bank account in Malaysia after 9 years of living here, but many of us, many people have. a little saving at least that they can use for these sort of things. But many people at the moment do not have that. It's like what they are having is they are counting the single ringgits that they have, and it's sometimes less than a few hundred. And this is I think this is showing the extent of the crisis. I don't think I am doing anything big anyway. It is for me. It's more of a showing others that, and I know a lot of people are doing this already. It is. I mean, those who are joining, I think this dialogue. I can see there are 67 people right now watching this. I believe many of them have been doing their part, but I also think that it's more of a the issue is something that the government should help, and that would only happen, I guess, when people are lobbying with the government.
Mostly that migrant workers says they don't know the like NGO contact. Most of them they have their own community. In Klang Valley here is I think more than 100 Indonesian community that is to the what is that? The state, to the religion. So they like have their community, and we have a group that we can share regarding the issues there, and we try. And then also we connected with the embassy. So that some cases we refer to our embassy, and some cases we refer to another NGO as our journey, and also Tenaga Nita that also doing the access for justice for the and also the current situation COVID-19.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Until now we don't have that platform.
Actually, it is a good question. The physiological support for the migrants, and this is very important. Many migrants are actually the physiological problem they are facing, and even though they're suffering malnutrition problem as well, you know, because no food. One time, some of them one times a day they eating. This is the actually big challenges current crisis, because they cannot move coming out. They continue stay at home or their living place. They cannot going out, and even though another issue that they cannot sending remittance their family, because their family depends to their income. Even though many of their family actually in the very vulnerable condition in Bangladesh, so they cannot sending money. Even who has money also, the remittance already shut down many remittance company in here now current crisis. So how they can send the remittance their family, and even to currently the Bangladesh embassy here, High Commission, they starting very limited food supplying to the migrant community, but it is a very insufficient actually. So actually, even though my request, even though Bangladesh High Commission should be, to start like massively to helping their community. So maybe they are only some Kuala Lumpur based some worker, they get some help from the Bangladesh High Commission. So that is another concern, because many migrant workers complain me about the High Commission supply food. They could not get it, even though they apply by online. Some of them they apply on online, but they could not get it.
Actually, especially the Afghan community, they no support from Afghan embassy, and also the another community also no support from their embassy. Just the first time after 18th of March, the UNHCR published some poster, and the refugee language, I think is in 5 languages. It was about the COVID-19, it's about information, and also from end of March, the Malaysian government started to design and publish some poster. I think like 20 languages. I'm also there and translate some poster in my language. So that's about the information about the COVID-19. So the people must know about the government policy, about the condition and situation in Malaysia. And also the refugee family, some of them cannot talk in Bahasa Melayu and English, but they can ask the question with like community leaders, the community center. Each community have center. The center support with UNHCR and some NGO. So the people asking about food, about health issue with the community centers. Yeah. But the government didn't publish the poster yet. Maybe next week they publish. Actually, every day I go with my friend, with one of my team, go to different condo and apartment. But we know the refugees stay which condo. Most of them stay in Ampang, in Taman Kusos, in Bandar Baru. So then we go there and talk face to face directly with them. After that, we know which family really need food, really need money for rent, which family really needs support. So we ask some question. Do you have supporter? Do you know any leader community in Malaysia? Do you support with UNHCR about final issue and food? Are you single mother? Like that. And we see directly their condition. Then we write their name in the list. Also, some of them also, they know us. We give food for people. Contact they find my contact and call me and ask me about food. Then we go their house and see directly their condition.
Okay, this is very actually a good question. What you say to actually how they can communicate with us. Actually, we can create this kind of social event like Facebook, because many migrant workers use the Facebook and WhatsApp groups. Through to the WhatsApp and Facebook groups, we can they can share their problem, and we can also reach them. And also there's some NGO, even though Nasrika mentioned Tanaganita, even though our journey, they also have some connection with the migrant community and refugee community as well. So they also can play their role to helping them. But we need one central actually body to because people mostly they working individually. All the NGO, they working individually rather than jointly. So this is another one factor to many people. They don't know how to contact with this organization or NGO or the social networks. So even though movement control, another one barrier, we cannot move and communicate with directly physically to the workers. So this is another barrier we are facing, movement control, to communicate with our community. Actually, it is a completely decentralized, no central platform we have now. We don't have the central platform.
We don't have the platform. Yeah, I think the kind of complaint system must be have like hotline that responsive. Last time we also have the hotline that on COVID, but we tried to call many times, but it's not working. So I think must have that kind of platform hotline, and also that the platform must be responsive, not only just receive and just let it be.
Yes,
like what I said,
this is also
story in the Kebanyakan one.
Yeah, this is a good one. That we need a helpline. What Nasrika said, helpline is very essential. And the current crisis, it should be the centralized, not for individual and organization or something like that. If other NGO who are helping to the migrants, if they connect with us, our central platforms, then it is very useful to to reach every migrant community, especially who are living in the remote area, because the remote area migrant workers are completely privileged, underprivileged. So this is and marginalized actually. So we look this matter very seriously. Actually, you mentioned for the detention center how currently migrants are living in the detention center, but so far we don't have any news for the detention center right now, this current crisis. But actually, should be immigration department should be reveal how many detainees now in the detention camp, and really they are maintaining the WHO guidelines or not for this COVID-19, and how they actually screening them. So they should be, immigration should be press briefing for the who are detainees, their detention camp. And this can actually, this issue also we actually contact with the Ministry of Home Affairs to should be answered this question.
The Malaysian government also knows about the condition. Yesterday I was volunteer with Gotonia Foundation. They have the food distribution with the Rohingya community. Some people come from government side also. They took photo, and finally they send photo to government. For now, I think the government also knows about the refugee condition, about the food, about the rent, everything. And also the UNICEF also contact with the government, and they give report, the real report every day. They have cooperation. Yeah, it's very good cooperation between government and UNICEF.
Yeah, maybe I would like to share regarding the safety for the domestic workers. As we know that domestic workers, their situation is very vulnerable. They are isolated in the house, don't have access to go out. Some employer not allowed to get use the phone. So access for information also limited, very limited. And they also very high risk to get the COVID-19, as the employer, maybe they might go from overseas and just go back, and they can infected to the domestic workers. So then the domestic workers don't have access to for safety, like they don't, some employer, they don't give them mask or an information regarding this situation. Some we receive also some consultation from the domestic workers that because during this lockdown, that employer just only give the leftover the food, they give the food already expired, and also the some they have to buy by their own the food, because they said that the current situation is all over the world is like this. So the domestic worker situation is more very vulnerable right now, and the the guideline regarding the safety for the domestic workers is not there yet, and some like government never seen that situation is happen in the house for Malaysian. Exactly, they don't have access to complain as well, to report. I think for the information that the migrants, workers, children, they don't have access to school in the government school, so they only get for the community. So for the access to study during this MCO, maybe they don't have access for it. Most of them, I think, don't know, because I connected with some children that they also want to go out to play with the other friend. They don't know what happened actually. They always complain that it's so boring in the house, and something happened like this in the house.
No, actually, you see the Malaysian law, government not allow migrants bring their family in here, especially Bangladeshi migrant workers. For the Bangladeshi especially, they cannot bring their family in here. Indonesia they have some family living in here. For the Bangladeshi, normally they living themselves. So that's why we don't have this issue with the children just now we mentioned. So issue.
Actually, it's the language problem. The refugee, especially the kids, some of them they can speak in English, but they know about the condition, the COVID-19. They know, and also the refugee children they are not allowed to go to government schools, and also they cannot go to international school. It's very high fees. They charge very high fees. So refugee have some center for education, some schools, but everything is very limited. The space, the teacher, the salary, the quality of education also is very, 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 very bad. But yeah, that center after 18th of March is closed. But yesterday I had meeting with one manager of a refugee school. He said, I make the online curriculum and make a WhatsApp group with student, and we want continue the education with online curriculum. So I think it's very good news. The kids can study at home also. Yeah, all refugee kids stay at home and they're worried. They don't know about the impact of coronavirus, like with details, but they are worried about the food, about the rent. It's the main point in this time, the food. And this, yeah, a few days ago, I had meeting with some Afghan refugee children. They painted about coronavirus. They tried to give some information to another people with painting. It's one Afghan refugee stay in Ampang Boulevard, Kundu. Yeah, her kids make some painting and send to some friends.
Yes, a few days media I actually mentioned about migrant community. I seen the Malaysian newspaper, so I think we need a more attention. Especially I throws to you. I request to the Malaysian government. So Malaysian government directly involved with the migrant community, especially two ministry involved directly with the migrant community. One is a human resource ministry. One is a home ministry, and also another one body is played an important role. MTUC. These three can, even though beside that NGO, some NGO who are working with the migrant community and the civil society jointly, if all of us jointly we can work, I think this COVID-19 issue we can be minimized. This is my opinion. So I think government should take a very bold decision through to these two ministry plus to involve MTUC. Involved to the MTUC.
Yeah, regarding the attention from the society, local people, I think they don't know a lot about migrant and refugee situation, because as before the pandemic happened, that the xenophobia toward us is very, 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 what is that? The xenophobia to us is very big. And now, like they said that we steal their job, and we said that we are the criminal, or we are dirty and something like that. And during this pandemic, that xenophobia is become worse. The discrimination to us is become very a lot, and they don't know about our situation in the reality. So the what is that? We need to give more information to the public. What is happened to us? What is our situation? And don't just blame us for this situation. They have to know the reality, what happened, and what we are facing in our daily life.
How COVID-19 has, what has the infection rate been like in your communities? Has anyone been infected, and has it been a lot, or?
So far, the health ministry in a briefing, you see the Jalan Masjid India, three buildings, 120 plus. I think currently the Pasar Borong Slang is the red zone area for the migrant community, especially for the Rohingya and some of Bangladeshi as well. I think if I'm not mistaken, around that area, around 60, I think 60 people are infected coronavirus so far.
Right. This is from Noor Shazwani. Hi, I'm interested to find out more about your everyday experiences. Nasrika mentioned that the COVID situation has worsened the xenophobia against migrants and refugees. I was wondering if the panelists could share more about how the COVID situation intensified racism, xenophobia, discrimination against migrants and refugees, and maybe examples of their everyday experiences. Yeah, so maybe maybe you can share some like specific stories about what has been happening.
Yeah, Nastika, go ahead.
Yeah, I already said about the situation of domestic workers that the employer didn't give awareness regarding what happened, and they suddenly just deduct the salary, just pay half, and also they are facing that the employer just dismiss the domestic workers, as they said the business is not going well. And also we found some issues that domestic workers just throw in the roadside. These are not only one, I think 3 investors. Even though that domestic workers already worked for a couple years and they didn't get any salary, didn't have access for communication, they didn't bring in the handphone. So even though the domestic workers also don't have the documents, all the document was kept by the employer and also the agencies. And also that some workers that receive the local workers, they can receive the salary, but migrant workers did not get the salary. That the employer said that yes, because you are the migrant and you do not deserve this salary because it is count is unpaid leave wages, or to say unpaid leave, yeah.
Right.
So they forced to the unpaid leave. So I think this kind of situation is discrimination among the migrant workers. Yeah, and also that, yes, Janet?
Yeah, I was wondering, like earlier you mentioned that it's been difficult to reach the embassy or like the relevant bodies, right? But if you were able to reach them, is this something that they would be able to help with?
For the depends to the situation, yeah, because like the shelter provide now is very difficult to get support, because we also understand if because the person is from outside and the virus can detect after 14 days, so we understand, but we have to think that they are a human. There must be something to do to them, just not just them in the roadside. Maybe we should find another way, maybe to rent some what is that? Budget hotel to stay, and we provide the food to support them and bring them to the screening test after they get result. Maybe they can bring together to the shelter. I think that's what my opinion.
Right.
Just one thing about the public, I didn't give answer.
Yes.
You have time? Yeah. Actually, the public, local community know enough information about the refugee. Sometimes the local people ask why you come in Malaysia. That's why they don't know why. Yes, some of them thinking, yeah, refugees, few number in Malaysia, they stay on the road. That's why before lockdown, I try to make a real story about the refugee condition, why the refugee ran away from one country and came to second country. So it was actually the answer of the public question, the show. The name of show is And Then Comes Spring. So it was about the refugee condition, what happening in their own country, why they run away and come to second country.
I think a few days ago that have hot news that in the KL mentioned nearby the what is that Masjid Jami, that migrant workers throw the urine to the officer. We can see in the social media what the Malaysian comment over there. We can see that how the xenophobic is very, very. They don't like us, like we are very kind of very dirty and bring virus, and I cannot say it's very bad comment along in that news.
Right. Was this was this something that got worse after the whole COVID situation?
Yeah, I think it's more worse after the pandemic.
Right. And there's been a lot of like someone is asking, do they blame migrants or refugees for being carriers of the virus? Like, have you seen a lot of that? Like people blaming your communities?
Yeah, we can see in the social media as well how they comment on the news. Like they support if they must to clean the Malaysia from the migrant workers, as they said that bring a lot of negative to the country, something like that.
Right. Okay. Sorry, Saleh, earlier you were mentioning the show you did.
Yeah, you know, another problem, the NGO, the organization also, they just focus about the one side. For example, what they need, I mean the refugee, what the refugee need, but they didn't talk about what refugee have. So I know a lot of refugee, they have a very amazing experience, they have knowledge, they have skills, very good skills, but no opportunity. So if the media, the NGO, the organization also focus and give information about that issue, I think slowly you can change the condition of refugee in Malaysia. Every day the public listen, oh, refugee need. They, I think it's like tight, very tight. Every day they listen one word, one sentence, refugee need. So I think for long term it's not very good, have very bad impact. Yeah, the media, the organization and NGO must focus about the refugee knowledge and skill also. That's why refugee is not challenge in Malaysia. Refugee is opportunity. For example, some refugee I know, they doing very amazing job. For example, Hassan Lekro, Amin is not refugee, Muafaq, and some art, they doing art and music like that. Very amazing, very amazing. I think with this way, with arts, with culture, yes.
How can people view the artworks that have been created, or like how can they find out about what's going on in terms of like the work that
every year, every year, you know, we have a refugee festival in KL, in Penang. So the people come and watch the refugee potential, the refugee experience and arts. And also some NGO, they make the festival with refugee, by refugee. So the public people also have opportunity to come and watch and contact with them. Yeah.
Right. So I think we have time for one more question.
Hello?
Priscilla asks, in your experience, have any of the migrants and refugees reported on domestic violence? Has that been an issue before and after this? I mean, like during this period?
Yeah, for the domestic violence, I didn't receive any complaint. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, But we receive some kind of issue that a pregnant woman that they want to, they're already nearby the due date, that but they don't have any preparation for the baby and for the mother, and for the what is that? The give birth fees, because if migrant workers want to give birth, their expenses is very expensive. It is around 3,000. Yeah, this normal. If what is that? Cesar must be more than 6,000. So for the situation is this must be vulnerable for the this woman who pregnant and almost due to the give birth.
Right. Okay. So Saleh, I think, sorry, you got disconnected just now. Did you manage to finish what you were saying?
Yes, I finished it. Yeah, I finished it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I really like what you said about how we should think about what refugees have as well. Like you said, there's a lot of interesting work being put out. And one of them is linked below. It's a photography project by Komil Zarin.
Kamal Zarin, yes, he is refugee also. His project is very amazing.
Yeah, so feel free to check that out, guys. Lucas says, as a Malaysian, I feel sorry to know the migrant and refugee community situation faces here, especially the discrimination towards you all. But even among Malaysians themselves, there are problems with the issue of racism, religion, and gender violence. But let's try the best to counter those discrimination and bring awareness among society in the future. So yeah, I guess we will end on this note.
No, he said a very good. Actually, this is combination. I'm agree. Actually,
yeah. I think like
I would like to thanks to Lucas for his comment. I think we need more people like you, and maybe you can start from you, and you can spread to your family and to your society to inform what is happened about us, what happened in our daily life.
Yeah, so I think like all of us can do our part as well to support your communities. Thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing your experiences.
And thanks actually thanks to you, Janet, also to give us opportunity to talk this event. And thanks a lot.
Thanks to Project
Thank you
Dialogue. Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for spending your afternoon here. Stay safe, everyone.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good time.